Hey guys, this is Joshua Seth, voice of Tai on Digimon, and you're listening to Anime Secrets.
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Oh, yes! This is Goldar, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast. Don't tune us out, tune us in!
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin' time! Link to the Morphin' Course. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Spoken Silver.
I'm Patrick Allen, I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Ridwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Toku Secrets Podcast, presented by animesecrets.org. And we're here in the year of 2025. We posted a couple of our pre-recorded sessions, over the course of this year. So as far as you guys are concerned, we haven't gone anywhere, but we took a bit of a short break after we finished Go Andra, but now we're back finally to return to reviewing the current Sentai that is airing, Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger. We were originally hoping to go up to Bakuage 40, but we're actually going to be tacking on an additional 3 episodes because, the Boonboomger in-game arc, as of the recording of this podcast, is going, and we're going to take a look at that when it comes to an end in a couple of weeks. But for now, we're going to be reviewing everything up to then. So by sheer coincidence, this is the 9th Boonboomger podcast, which means that it's number 10 will be the end of Boonboomger. Almost kind of a weird coincidence since we usually do 10 podcasts with these things, but that's pretty cool. Another thing, the Boonboomger movie, it has come out, and part of the movie is going to have some plot implications that within the last episode that we're going to be taking a look at, and we will be reviewing the movie in another podcast. It does take place in the series prior to this batch, but we're going to take a look at it. We're going to record another podcast. We're reviewing that after this one. But with that said,
so the movie takes place during the episodes 36 to 43. We don't know exactly when.
Well, according to the Ranger Wiki, it said that it takes place between Bakuage's 20 and 21, I think.
Wow. The movie came out pretty late compared to that then.
Yeah.
Well, okay. But yeah, there's a lot of major implications of the movie in the last episode of the batch, but then also big implications in the in-game arc that we're not going to talk about here, but you got to wait a little bit longer for that.
Yeah.
So strap in, and Nate, take it away.
All right, we're going to start off with a recap of what happened in the last batch that we did last time for Boonboomger. So a bunch of things happened, a lot of stuff with Gimba. So to begin, we had another little bit of a cameo from some former Sentai heroes. The Boonboomgers had an encounter with Right Suzuki, that's Tokyo Ichigo, the Red Ranger from Tokyuger, and Akira Ninjino, Tokyo Rokugo, the Orange Tokyuger. Wright helped the Boonboomgers fend off a train-based Hashirian, and Akira encouraged Gimba to not give up on the relationships he had developed with the team. And Gimba eventually, through that, as well as realizing that Disrace hadn't taken everything away from him, he rejoined the team. He gave up his desire for revenge. And with him rejoining the team, the Boonboomgers unlocked their champion Boonboomger form, where they don these team jackets similar to what racing teams wear. And this allows them to arm them with weapons based off of the powers of the Boom Boom cars. They defeated Mad Rex. Mad Rex being happy to go out on his own terms, and then they confronted Disrace. Disrace revealed that Boone was a former Hashirian, and we learned a bit more about Boone's backstory, where he was manipulated into joining the Hashirians by their boss Spinder, and he lost his license in the BBG after an apparently illegal part from a fan to upgrade part of his racer was discovered. The fan was actually Spinder, and he attempted to work with the police to take him down. It failed, and now Spinder is out for Boone, is out to get revenge for Boone. There was a little bit of drama, but the Boonboomgers refused to turn on Boone, and they came together. They defeated Disrace and with a new Boom car called the Champion Carrier. It can combine with all the other Boom cars to form Champion Boonboomger Robo, which I guess we can now officially say is the ultimate mech. In the previous batch, we kind of thought that there was going to be more to it, but with there not being any other major mech combinations introduced in this batch, spoiler there, I guess we can assume that that's the equivalent of like the Engine O G12, Samurai Ha-Oh, etc. But yeah, let's move on. Let's jump into the review part here, where we're going to be taking a look at the episodes themselves. Bakuage 36, The Road to Dreams. This is a filler episode around Mira, where this friend of Mira's named Aki. She gets jealous over Mira's popularity over being a Boonboomger, and she steals her changer. There's a little bit of some revelation about what Spinder is apparently doing, where Shirabe and Tokoyari, they meet with Sakito and Bune, and they reveal that Spinder is attempting to absorb gasoline in order to achieve immortality. And Spinder prepares to travel to Earth in his personal ship at the end of this episode. And a little bit of a fun fact here, the actress who plays Aki is Hinami Mori. She was previously Flint Sukir. She was a supporting character in Zenkaiger. I think she's like the sister of the Sixth Ranger, Tukaiger.
She's the sister of Tukaiger. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And she's awesome. I love her.
Yeah, she is.
But yeah, that's all the information on this episode. What do we think about this one?
Did anyone else feel like this was kind of a bait and switch? We're thinking like, oh, she's gonna transform, and also was Mira, or that's just me?
Yeah, I got that feeling.
Because the episode preview for this episode showed the two Pink Rangers, the two Boon Pinks running at it. I was like, oh, she's gonna get to... Nope.
Nope. I wasn't a fan of the bait and switch. I was kind of excited to see like a second Boon changer to be used.
Yeah, same here.
Especially because I wanted Flint to have the power, and maybe like, okay, so does this stretch? I didn't expect it to actually happen, but one can dream, right? And my dream was Mira had to be taken away to go deal with something, and for like 2 episodes, Hinami Mori would play the Pink Ranger for the season in her stead. And she'd be a recurring character, which, spoilers, she's not a recurring character. I'm very disappointed by that.
Yeah, me too.
I really wanted her to stick around. I liked her character in that
so do
capacity.
And also, like, I like the fact that when she attempted the henshin, she didn't really know how to do it properly. She just pressed the button, thought that was going to work. Like, you got to spin the wheel.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, I liked the episode a lot. I just wish that they had embraced the Pink more, because there's a lot of jokes in the fandom before this episode aired saying that there's a danger of having too much Pink, a reference to the Mighty Morphin quote.
Yeah, too much Pink energy is dangerous.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people making that meme online when it happened, like the trailer. So I was like, that'll be pretty fun to see how they work it out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they bait and switched us.
Disappointed.
Yeah,
I still thought this episode was really good, though.
It was really good. I agree. I think this gives Mira something fun to work on. Because you see Mira throughout the season and even beyond this episode. Just going from random job to other random job, and she's like just everywhere doing everything. And she's also a Boonboomger, and she's really popular. Everyone loves her. So it's really fun to see the other side where people are actually jealous of her and want to be her.
Mm-hmm. But for her to continue, because I think Mira's at her best when she's trying to be like the emotionally uplifting character in an episode like this, where she just kills it.
Yeah. I still enjoy the episode though, but like I said, that one thing disappointed.
I think the big thing that I took away from this is that you would feel like, honestly, when I read the plot of this, where a ranger's friend is jealous of them and steals their changer. The funny thing is that sounds like a plot that you would think is like a staple filler episode that's appeared in many other Sentais. But here's the odd thing. I can't recall a single episode like this.
I mean, okay, it happened in Gokaiger, kind of.
Around like,
around like episode 4 or 5. He stole Marvel's.
Well, I wouldn't say that though. It's not that he was jealous of the Gokaigers. It was more that he wanted to use the Sentai's powers to defend the world. So it's not quite that way, because I mean, he certainly wasn't friends with the Gokaigers in that episode. So
he's got to transform. That's actually because he's got to transform. Not many people.
I mean, to be granted, the Mobiran is not a complicated machine to use.
No, actually, what I meant to say was that like they actually allowed him to transform. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're like, you can't have this random person be a ranger. Like, no, it's exclusive for the people who actually are playing the Rangers. That's what I meant.
But like, yeah, that's a good point. Across the Sentai that I've seen in every Power Ranger season, I can't remember an instance of this happening where someone else, took a henshin device or a morpher and used it, outside of that one instance in Gokaiger. So,
but I'm talking, and I mean, maybe it's happened. Because keep in mind, I still have everything between Tokuger and King Oger to completely finish, but so maybe it's happened, but I don't really recall it. So, and honestly, this is a perfect way that they would use a plot like this, because like you guys said, with Mira being super popular and a friend being kind of jealous of her, but then they give the twist that like Mira's always looked up to Aki, so it gives her some character development too. Like it gives an original plot that sounds like it's been done before, but it hasn't. Like, just a really good episode all around, even if that bait and switch thing was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
What do we want to give it out of 10 though?
I'm gonna 9 it.
Yeah, I'm a 9 too.
9.
I will give it a 10, but if she was able to transform in this, and they were both able to transform team up, I would have given it a 10.
If they could have had too much pink energy, I would have given it a 10 automatically, just for the meme. But
just for that alone.
Just for that alone, that would be. But also the other reason is I really liked Flint being pink. I thought it was a really cool idea, and to have them both be pink together went really cool.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to Bakuage 37, Two Spies, an Ishiro-centric filler episode where a woman named Suteya is a former friend of Ishiro's. She unleashes a monster of her own in an attempt to defeat the Boonboomgers. It's revealed that, and all that happens with Suteya is that this mysterious person who reports to Tokoyami, he brands Suteya a failure for some reason. Because she couldn't defeat the Boonboomgers, and Suteya mysteriously disappears after this. She's dead. They're not even trying to be subtle about that. What do we think about this one, guys?
Like, not kind of talking about what's about to happen down the line, but I feel like this episode doesn't really serve a purpose.
It does, but I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
This does get revisited later.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I'm not going to
Mhm.
talk about it, but
Okay.
there's stuff that happens with this later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disregard me.
Yeah, you know nothing, Patrick.
I know.
Yeah,
It's just that from what I've seen, this episode doesn't seem like it has any relevance. But I'll take your word for it.
If I hadn't been watching the Endgame arc, I would definitely agree with you. This episode is pointless, but stuff in here does come back to hit later on.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like all this does. I mean, Ishiro's probably been the most disappointing character thus far, and all this adds to his backstory is he has a friend named Suteya who he used to work with, and you think she's going to be a recurring villain given how they introduce her, but then she ends up dying. But okay, the fact that they revisit this, okay, I guess I can't really judge this episode that harshly then.
No, it's actually a pretty good episode. I mean, Anthony, you kind of know where this is going to go, and I think
Yeah, because I'm only an episode behind you.
Yeah.
Riz. So like, I
Right.
saw the episode prior. I'm like, wow. But if anything, if it gets crazier than what I've seen before, then I'm not prepared either.
You're not prepared. I promise you're not prepared. You know, it's kind of fun being the one person on this podcast who knows what's going to happen before you three know.
That's kind of a weird turning of the table.
Enjoy it because it's never going to happen again.
And also, isn't this the same episode where they made a fake Ichiro? Was that this episode?
Yes, it was like the cyborg
Can I just
one.
say I really appreciate the fact that the team automatically knows straight up that this guy was a fake the whole time.
Well, Taya specifically, because Taya knows. He's just
yeah.
He's just that in the know. Any little subtle differences, he can immediately pick up on it.
What do we want to give this one out of 10?
8, I guess.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
I'm going with an 8.
I could up it to an 8 if they revisit it. Then I originally had it as a 6, but if this is going to end up being the setup for something, then I think an 8 is fair.
It's definitely going to be an 8.
My reasoning for why I give it an 8 is mostly for the fact that Taya was able to figure out that wasn't his blue, and it was so subtle. He was just kind of like, why would he ask where Boondorio is when he clearly would know, because he knows where everybody's at. Like that's his job to know where everybody's at. Yeah. How would he not know?
Okay, let's move on to Bakuage 38, Vow of the Sandseeders. This is a Sandseeders centric episode, and we also get the debut of a new villain here, where we get a relative of Yarukar appearing, and he makes an offer to Yarukar. Okay, so we get a little bit more backstory for the Sandseeders here. They came together many years ago. They were down on their luck. They were unsure of their paths and lives in their lives. And they vowed, okay, well, none of us know where we're going, so let's all just come together and work to go wherever it is the wind takes us. And Yarukar, he gets approached by another one of his species, which are called Yarukars. This relative is called Weiwei, and he reveals that Yarukar is part of the Yaru family from the planet Yaruka. Yaru lost his memory and family crest when he fled the planet and collided with a meteor. Yarukar gets offered to return to Yaruka and enroll in high school so that he can become an elite like his relative. Deko Torade and Itasha encourage him to take the offer because, he can't refuse it. It's a big opportunity. And Yarukar at first accepts it, but then he decides, well, no, I can't just leave my friends. So he decides he's going to return and, continue to help them. During this episode, the main 5 Boonboomgers are fighting 2 monsters, and Spindo's that's the appropriate pronunciation for the leader of the Hashirians, by the way, Spindo. His right-hand man called Grant's Risk arrives and appears before them. He defeats the monsters and introduces himself before making off, and he announces to Spindo that the Earth is ready to be invaded. One other thing is that Engine Speedor, Solsuke's partner, he arrives back at the human world briefly in this episode. He apparently knows Bundi for some reason and combines with Bundi Mach Robo to form Bundi Mach Robo Go On Custom, and they defeat Killer Robo before Speedor leaves to go back to the engine world or whatever world the Go Oners are in right now. What do we think about this one, guys?
I have to say this, y'all. I gotta bring this up. Okay. The reason why Bundi knows Speedor is because he treats him like family. There, I said it.
Oh my god. Shut up. Okay. So I have 2 points I want to bring up. One, happy to see you again, Speedor. I love you. Why were you here?
Yeah.
He just shows up. Hey, Bundi, fuse fight. Bye.
You
what
know,
are you here for?
I need them to kind of properly wrap up the plot holes that we're leaving behind right now. Look, I don't know these are plot holes per se, but are we ever going to really talk about the fact that Sakito can randomly merge his mech with Tokyuger's mech to make his own?
Speedor.
And now Speedor. And later on something else? Because, come on, guys. I need more.
Maybe they probably knew each other like a while ago, and maybe he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do get some custom upgrades that one day we can fuse together or whatever."
Well, then say that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just seemed like Speedor showing up in this episode was completely pointless.
It was Deus Ex
No,
Machina.
it is. I'm not disagreeing with y'all one
Yeah.
bit. I was just trying to find an explanation. I'm just like, why didn't they just actually go out and just tell us that this happened?
Because see, the thing that I wanted to have happen, and it didn't happen, was there was a lot of rumors on Sentai Reddit about, before the season ends, we're gonna have Sosuke and Marvelous return to help the Boonboomgers one more time. So I was like, oh well, we got Speedor here, so Sosuke can't be that far behind. And
Sosuke doesn't show up.
Sosuke's not back yet, so I don't know what's going on. Will he come up in the endgame arc? Because that'd be kind of wild. I've never seen a crossover event happen in the endgame arc for anything.
Me neither.
No, me either.
So that'd be wild. And if they do have, that's kind of getting into another territory, but I'm going to plant it here. And then if we want to do another podcast, Nate, on the side, we can. But it could be set up if they do have characters return in the in-game arc later on than where we are right now, to set up for number 1 Sentai Gokaiger, because that'll have a lot of stuff to do with past Sentai teams, given it's the anniversary.
Yeah,
I can see that.
So,
although I have to say, I mean, the way that they're constantly bringing back past characters from previous Sentai a little nonchalantly, I get that there's no reason for it, but it's still kind of cool from a fan service perspective. That they're able
absolutely. I mean, when we get to another scene in another episode, all 3 of you know what I'm talking about because you know who I am.
Yep.
That is pure fan service at its finest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like this is doing the way that they've been doing this, because they did this in the previous season too, where we had the big Kyoryuger team up, and then one episode, just for one random episode, they had King and Amy's son, Prince, I think his name was, show up for like one episode. Like this season, like Sentai these days is doing exactly what I have a feeling the early Hasbro era of Power Rangers wanted to do, but couldn't because of how bad because of how low their budget was, but still.
Okay, sorry, Pat. Let me say this real quick.
This was something that I think was probably like one of the biggest complaints against Sentai versus Power Rangers is that Sentai was almost refusing to establish continuity across every season, like Power Rangers was. They're embracing it now, and I'm glad because it leads to so many moments like this. I love it when we see that these teams are all like in the same universe. I just hate that it took them so long to finally get around to doing this more consistently.
Sorry, what I was going to say was, first, I think now that effectively Power Rangers is not really going to come back for a while, and Toei has more freedom to do whatever they want without being restricted by what Saban's budget would be to buy suits and import them down and all that they can do more crazy stuff, which has been very obvious given some of the more recent Sentais and what we get from them. Like King Ozer, wild. You would not have something like that prior. Same with Dawn Brothers and Zenkaiser.
Yep.
So they're able to do a lot more branching out and trying out stuff, and a lot of it's been working, honestly.
Because I think when Kira Major first hit, that's when they started kind of like, changing some things a bit. Not it was still like, of course, like the usual Sentai for Kira Major, but then after that, it started going, start doing more, stuff that you would be unconventional for them to do with Zenkaiser and Dawn Brothers and freaking King Oger and stuff.
Yeah. It's almost like, and I hate to say this, but even though Power Rangers might be better than Super Sentai in some areas, as far as the better ran franchises, Super Sentai kind of blows Power Rangers out of the water. Now, granted,
49 years versus 30 years, the numbers win.
Yeah.
The other thing, going back to my other point that I wanted to bring up, am I the only one that kind of wished the three-seaters died here?
You wish that what?
The three-seaters died in this episode, because I feel like
this
would have been a good send-off for them.
No. The next unaired episode needs them.
Oh, okay.
Then because like the things that was bothering me is that after this episode, they have this emotional episode where they kind of like come together and was like some kind of like closure arc for these guys, and then they just went back to standard fare, and I'm like, really? I feel like they would have had a bigger role or something after this if you chose to keep them alive. So
I guess evidently they are going to have a bigger role.
Yeah, it's like every single time I bring up something, Riz is like, well.
Patrick, you have no idea how much fun I'm having right now doing this too.
The tables have turned, and Riz is loving every minute of it.
You're damn right I am.
But yeah, the Sand Seeders, like, for the people who are listening that might not know, like Riz and I earlier today were talking about like we believe right now that like Boonboomger is the best car theme Sentai, and it's not even close. And here's the thing, that does seem weird with all the praising we did of Go-Onger a while back, but like here's the thing, another thing that this has on Go-Onger is that the Sand Seeders are kind of interesting villains. And don't get me wrong, those three Guy Arc ministers, I mean, they weren't bad characters, and the way they went out was actually pretty cool. But yeah, the Sand Seeders are still kind of beating these characters badly.
Okay, so here's the thing about it. Given, I'm watching RPM in my free time right now. We finished Go-Onzer, and I'm further ahead in Boonboomger. The Go-Onzer villains, by and far, had nothing to them. They were just kind of like a menacing, oh, let's pollute the planet. Oh, let's flood the planet. Let's do something to mess with the environment. That's all they gave to us. But here, you got villains like Disrace. You got people like the Sand Seeders. You got other villains that we'll talk about in more detail later on, I think. But throughout the thing, we've had some pretty good villains that, we remember their names later on. Like, how often do you hear me actually remember a villain's name? Never.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
for the fact that I can remember Distros or Spindo or any of these people right now, it's speaking to the fact that they've done a good job writing the villain team, while, in my opinion, making a fantastic Boonboomger cast. Got some questions on Sakita, but we're gonna leave that for a later time. But
Yeah, like
can't get
even
all.
Mad Rex was memorable because of his rivalry
yeah.
with
Yeah.
Boom Red.
Like, yeah, no, the Mad Rex stuff is also fantastic. I thought that's all great writing.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, I enjoyed this episode. You know, the Sand Cedars were really good characters. I mean, I know we sound like a broken record with giving all these episodes high scores, but I honestly did like this one with these characters, and that's why I want to give it a 9 personally. But what about you guys?
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 also.
9.
All right, cool. Let's move on to a Bakuage 38, Screaming the Stars, which is a full debut of a Spindo where he arrives on Earth. We got a lot of twists and turns. So immediately when he arrives on Earth, Spindo gets greeted by Tokoyami and his assistant, Maimi. She's a friend of Shirabe's. And Shirabe discovers that because Spindo's arrival was undetected by the ISA must be in league with the Hashirians, which evidently they are. And when he's fighting the Boonboomgers, Spindo reveals that he has rigged the BBG in order to figure out who wins, because the screams from the race, when people are screaming as a result of the race, it'll create massive amounts of gasoline for him to use. And the episode ends with him meeting with Tokoyami. And they're also joined by, remember that businessman that's really good friends with Taya, Naito? He's in the meeting too. So there's quite a bit. So there's a lot of twists with like people that we thought were our friends are turning out to be our enemies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about this?
This episode's aura was incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like the rest of the team kind of get like scrubbing bubbled out of existence was a little bit weird, but Spindo versus Taya was, oh man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I like how the way that they're setting him up as a legitimate threat, because the overarching theme of Boonboomger is to follow your dreams and figure out what you want to do and then go and achieve it. No matter what the obstacles are. And Taya and Boone's goal is to win in the BBG. Well, here's the main villain. He's a legitimate obstacle in that goal that they want to achieve. So not only is he a threat to the Earth, but he's also a direct threat to what Taya and Boone want to achieve, which directly flies in the face of the message that this season is all about. Like, it's very deep when you think about it that way.
Yeah. And I think that sets Spindo up to be like, I know sometimes when Sentai and other shows do these things where the main boss doesn't show up until like very late, they kind of suffer from a syndrome of not being fully developed because they've only been around for such few episodes. They've set up and shown off Spindo like he's being very memorable really quickly.
Yep.
And he made defeating Taya look so easy, and it's like,
oh, he's tough.
And you wondering like, how are they gonna beat this guy? Like,
yeah, they're establishing him. I mean, I don't think we can quite say that he's on a threat level compared to Dog Dead last season, or even technically what Yogo Shima Kritian, whatever the main villain's name was from Go Onger, but he may not be as strong as them. But he may not be as strong as them, but he's still like, honestly, this is probably the first time I can think of where the main villain can be seen as like the way that he works is like a direct obstacle and really relates to the overarching message of the Sentai. That, yeah, that's kind of amazing when you think about it.
Especially with Spindo and Boondorio's history with each other.
Yeah.
This episode does a lot of stuff that will have lasting impacts throughout the rest of the season. And honestly, Spindo is a very devastating villain, which we'll touch base on in the in-game arc a lot more. But he's definitely not somebody we want to mess with.
No.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting that we're talking about how great of a villain this guy is, since, you know, he's basically just a gangster boss when you really think about it. Like, that doesn't sound nearly as intimidating as like the leader of a bunch of demons, like what Dokuku was, or a literal god like Dogdead. Like, when you really think about it, when we're talking about what type of villain this guy is, the only villain I can think of that would be the most comparable would be maybe Doniro from Time Ranger. But unlike Doniro from Time Ranger, who just kind of looks like, he looks like Viktor Orban, the Hungarian guy, if he was a Power Ranger villain, and he acts like that. But with Spindo, he is a gangster boss, but he's a very intimidating and threatening one at that.
Though I guess the best comparison I can make to him is the Kingpin from the Marvel Universe, where he's thinking, well, he's just a mob boss, you know, but his reach, he has people in the police force, he has people in the New York City government that he can use to like cover his tracks and allow him to get inside information at will from anybody. Spindo has his fingers in everything.
Yeah.
Like different planets, governments, he has like final say over everything. And there's nothing more dangerous than like control from inside the highest points of power.
Yep.
So he may not be as physically powerful, but he's strong in other ways, and that makes him extra scary because it's a little bit too real.
He's physically powerful, all right. I don't know that.
But like compared to some others, he may not be, but his influence creeping into other aspects of other planets is like a superpower that not many other villains in Sentai have had.
And one other thing I want to give about this episode is I love Shirabe in this episode. You know, she's always been really serious, and now here she is finding out that the organization that she's dedicated her whole life to working for is corrupted with people who are working with the Hyperions. And then she ends up kind of saving the Boonboomgers at the end of this episode. I didn't really think when we first met her, like early in the show, that she was going to become this likable of a supporting character. But
I was legit thinking I was going to hate her.
Same here. I thought I was going to be annoyed with her by the time we're done. But no, her defining moment was in this episode, and it was great.
Yeah. So and of course, like I love her like interaction with Boone. It's adorable.
She is such a massive Boondario stan, and I love it.
Understandable.
So this is like probably I've lost count of how many times this Sentai has proven me wrong. I thought there's no way that this Sentai could handle heavy-handed emotional moments when I first saw the suits. It proved me wrong. I thought that there was no way that the villains could become really interesting characters and have emotional moments. They proved me wrong. I thought that Shirabe was going to be an annoying character, but I hated, and it's proven me wrong. This Sentai apparently just has a huge hobby with proving us wrong here.
Hey, Nate, guess what?
What's that?
You're wrong.
Yeah, evidently I am.
Skill issue.
It is. Time to get good.
Get good, scrub.
What do we want to get? Half of me wants. I definitely want to give it at least a 9, but I don't know if I should give it a 10 or not.
I'm tempted to give it a 10. I really am.
I'm
Screw
gonna.
it. I'm giving it 10. Screw it. I don't care. I'm giving it 10. Screw it.
Well, damn. I was gonna go with a 9, but now I have no choice to give it 10. I gotta give it to peer pressure, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
You
I
can
guess
do if you don't want to.
tens.
That's something I chose to do. I'm taking the wheel this time.
Oh, well.
Okay. See, I respect that move. I'm going to
Me
10
too.
too.
You know what, Anthony? I respect that.
Thanks, man. You got to be in the driver's seat sometimes, you know? Just got to be in the driver's seat sometimes.
See, he's learning, guys.
Anyway, we're going to move on to a next one, Bakuage 40, The Immeasurable Man, a filler-centric Joe episode where there's this little boy named Itsuki. He wants to become a hero, and he first tries to follow Ishiro because he thinks Ishiro is the coolest Boonboomger, but then Ishiro ditches him, and then he starts following Joe, wanting to become Joe's apprentice. Not much else happens other than that we're showing a little bit more of some collaborations between the ISA and the Hashirians because Naito and Maimi are showing Spender new weapons installed on Killer Robo. What do we think about this one?
Hey, go on. This is how you write Gunpei. You see,
I was about to say the exact same thing on this episode. I swear to you.
This is how you write him. Yes, he has his moments where he's like a laughing stock, but it's not because, you know, they just want to make him the punchline for everything. It's because he's a little bit too carefree for his own good. But when they give him a moment to be serious, he's very endearing. I love this episode for him, how he won this kid over and ended up, no, you're my favorite now. And he's like, yay. Like, go get it, Joe.
Dude, Joe is amazing. I love Joe.
I love
He's
this
very
dude,
endearing.
man.
He's very endearing for a guy who is like, you know, I guess honest to a fault. He's very endearing.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was gonna hate characters like that because like there's like characters who aren't as like complex or like as, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Complete.
Not I was gonna say complete as like, you know, like he has layers and stuff like that. He's just kind of just a simple character, but that's what makes him great is that he is simple, but he's a great character because of that.
He's very strong morally, very unwavering. And
honestly, the message that Joe kind of gives to the kid is something that kind of personally resonates with me, where Joe recognizes that he's messed up in the past and he knows that he's not perfect, but he's not trying to be perfect. He's just trying his best and trying to be the best that he can be. That is probably one of the most wholesome messages I've seen the Sentai give. And it's done in like, here's the thing. Joe is not Guy Yuki, but honestly, I feel tempted to make him like the number 2. Honestly, after watching this episode, I was tempted to say that he might be number 2 for Black, in my opinion, which we could talk about that when we get to the tiers. But,
yeah.
Was that kind of a bold statement? Because like there was a bit of an awkward silence after that.
That he is one of the best Black Rangers?
Yeah.
No, that's valid.
No, he
valid.
is.
Yeah.
I don't know where I would rank him at the moment, but
I mean, he's definitely not going to be Jet Black, but
yeah, he's not Black Condor, but
yeah,
he's up there. He's up there for sure.
He's definitely in the S tier.
Yeah, it's just a matter of where in the S tier is he.
Yeah.
And I mean, this might be another reason why I would probably have to put this above Gokaiger because, because when you think about it, this guy is similar to Gunpei in that he's a cop, just like Gunpei, but where with Gunpei, they try to write him as being like, they kind of make him like to be a butt monkey for jokes and everything. And he's trying to be this cool, like, he wants to be Ian from Kyoryuger. I know Kyoryuger didn't exist back then, but you guys know what I mean. But he's not. Like this guy, they're just making him be an honest cop. He just wants to do good, and that's all there is to him. And
Yeah.
I mean, it works perfectly.
Yep,
it does.
And that's another reason why I probably want to. I don't know if I could give this a 10, but it's a 9 at the very least.
It's definitely a 9.
It's
yeah,
9.
absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to Bakuage 41, a supportive back, which is a filler episode revolving around Gimba and Sakito. The Hashirians, they're threatening to take over Earth Soccer program, and Gimba and Sakito take that personally, and they want to protect their sport at all costs because they're massive sports fans. During this episode, Joe briefly gives Sakito his champion's jacket. It allows Sakito to transform into Boom Violet for this episode. Very fun fact here. So during the soccer game, the Hashirians are using their power to like transport the game to like multiple different fields and stadiums. And at one point, they get during a field change, they run into this old woman whose dog gets switched with a soccer ball. You want to know who plays this old woman? Well, that is Matsumoto Rika, who voices Boondario Boondaris. So that's pretty cool. And we also get a couple of we actually got 2 vassals from King Odra to come back here. The soccer league chairman is played by Hiroto Yoshimitsu. He was Sebastian in the last season. Sebastian being Himeno's butler.
I knew he looked familiar from somewhere.
Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
And the vice chairman is played by Jubun Fukuzawa, who portrayed Boshimar. He was one of several of the Hasty families, that being Gira and Arraklis' family. He was one of their many servants. I think he was the one that that Bugnarot guy was mimicking for.
And I called it, and I still to this day love it. I called that.
Yeah, that's exactly why I brought up that point, Anthony, so that you could flex on that again.
Nailed it.
But yeah, what do we think about this one?
This episode was weird.
It was so out of left field.
It was a pretty weird episode, I'm not gonna lie.
Like the moment
no
that
one's
made
gonna
me
comment on the pun.
Huh?
No one's gonna comment on the pun.
I didn't hear the comment.
It's so out of left field. God, y'all suck.
I didn't catch that, honestly.
That only works if this was a baseball episode.
That's why it's funnier, because I don't know sports.
But the moment that really made me sit here and look at my screen and say, what the heck is going on here, is when they teleported into the tire shop and the 2 guys came out with the tires for the goals and they looked at the camera and smiled with thumbs up. I'm like, what is happening here?
I think they were thinking they got free promo.
Probably, most likely, yeah.
I'm wondering if that was like,
say.
It must be, because that was like very, very bizarre.
No, boy, what I did like about the episode wasn't even like the stuff of the stalker. I liked the fact that Violet and Orange were just basically just like had to like basically knock into each other, like, oh, we both wanted the same thing, but we kind of went about the wrong way. We could have just worked together and just not had, just try to let our egos get in the way.
Yeah, I don't know if it works though, because these 2 have never had an issue with each other before. They just kind of got overly competitive with each other and got in each other's way for a little bit. I don't know. This whole episode was just
well, it probably well, you know how like sports will really get us.
I know.
I know that for sure.
I know.
I get pretty worked up when I watch sports games. You can just ask my wife about that.
No, you can ask. I mean, Nate, I feel you. That stupid Michigan game that we sat through on New Year's Eve.
I don't want to remember that, man. Come on.
Man, I wasn't happy that day. But like,
Oh,
While we're
but the
talking about
other
those
thing I wanted to
stats,
say that I liked was this when they were in the tire shop and it was like, oh, we're gonna destroy this stuff in here. Like Ty's like, I'll just buy it.
oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like the conflict felt forced, and like the comedic elements of the season felt a little bit too goofy for its own good. I don't know. There's just something about this episode that was off to me.
I thought it was okay. I didn't really like it. Like it wasn't the best episode, but I didn't hate it
Nah.
either. I was just like,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
it was still fine, but you could tell they didn't really know what to do with this one.
And didn't we already kind of do a sports themed episode with that baseball episode?
Which I thought was better.
Yeah.
Much better.
I actually thought the soccer episode was pretty fun.
I mean, it's fine. It just
It's not-
didn't feel. They didn't feel like they put as much thought into it.
No, it came out of. It really just came out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
It could have been transitioned into better, honestly.
But I mean, I still thought it was entertaining. But again, the sports themed episode before was a little better. I'd still probably give this one a 7, but it's not Boonboomger's best work.
No, it's like a 7-ish.
Yep.
I give it a 7.5 just because,
I'll give
like
it a
I said,
7.
there was entertaining parts in it, so I didn't enjoy it, like thoroughly, like despise it. I thought it was pretty funny and decent.
Yep. Okay, now we can move on to Bakuage 42, Holy Night Presents. This is the Christmas episode for Boonboomger where Spindo is targeting Santa Claus as Christmas approaches. Yes, really. And there's a point where Taya witnesses Itasha singing a song. And yes, it is a song. Like, it's a straight up musical number like you would see on a Broadway show. I'm not kidding, but it's actually very entertaining and very wholesome. And, you know, she feels unlucky and how she's always messing up. And he feels sorry for her and gives her this book as a Christmas present. But then the Christmas present gets destroyed by the latest Hashirian. And then she's all like, oh, my God, Boonboomgers, kill him. And then we also get another Robo formation just for this episode where Boonboomger Robo, the champion carrier, and Leon combine to form Bakuage Merry Christmas Edition, where Leon becomes this reindeer and he pulls the champion carrier like a sleigh, and Boonboomger Robo rides on it. So pretty cool stuff. What do we think about this one?
I am going to say right now, at minimum, this will get a 9 for me just for Bakuage Merry Christmas Edition.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Christmas. Actually, no, I haven't. I've never seen a Christmas themed Robo formation in Sentai, but I dig it. Really like it.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's the first time doing something, you got to applaud them for the creativity, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, I find it very entertaining that Itasha was just like, you ruined my book, so y'all need to kill him before I do.
But yeah, this is one of those Christmas episodes where it's not really special. Like, I don't know. Like, I would probably say that the best Christmas themed, the Christmas episode that I've seen in Sentai that I can at least remember off the top of my head would probably have to be the Mega Ranger one, because the Mega Ranger one had a very memorable. The Mega Ranger Christmas episode was the ending for a very memorable story arc in that season.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And you know, and even Goanger had a good one because Goanger they had to fight a pretty intimidating type of villain. This one, there's not much to it, but at the same time, it's standard, but it's still perfectly enjoyable, and that's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, it's like a 7 at best, I suppose. 7, 8, something like that.
On a practical scale, it's a 7. Because of a damn mech, it's a 9.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm going Riz on that one.
Yeah, I think 7 is fair. Okay, well, let's wrap up this with Bakuage 43, Powerful Handle. This is a New Year's celebration episode, and it's also a prelude to the endgame arc, where a lot of stuff happens in this episode. Ishiro gets forced to work for Tokoyari in the ISA. He gives up his Boom Boom Changer to the latest Hashirian. The Hashirian was released by the ISA because he's trying to prove his loyalty to them, and he does it in front of the Boomboomgers and turns on them, basically saying the ISA wants to rule the world. That's why they're working with the Hashirians. And he tells Taya, listen, just give up, okay? I don't want to fight you. I don't want the world to be your enemy. And then Taya says, the world being my enemy? That sounds cool. I could totally dig that. And he stands defiant. And Ishiro leaves the Boomboomgers, and they're fighting off the latest Hashirian. And that's when Joe Gipkin, Gokai Blue, yep, got a Gokaiger here, guys. He appears. He was watching their fight. He admires Taya's drive, specifically when he defies Ishiro. And he takes Ishiro's Boom Boom Changer from the monster, and he briefly turns it into a Boon Blue Ranger key so he can transform into Boon Blue himself. He helps the Boomboomgers fight the Hashirians. He, of course, gives the Boom Boom Changer back after that. During the mech fight, Joe uses this Gokai Galleon-like Ranger key to transform Bune Mac Robo into Gokaio. Well, it's called Bune D Mac Robo Gokai Custom, but it's really just changed the mech into Gokaio.
Nate, you do realize that they used that key in the movie, right?
The 10 years later movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
okay,
what that's
yeah,
from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I might have forgot. Okay, yeah, that slipped my mind.
How dare
right.
you?
Yeah, how dare me? But yeah, Joe reveals that the Boomboomgers, he helped them because it's what his captain would have done. He gives them a necklace. This necklace is from Nicola. She's a character from the Boomboomger movie. Before he takes his leave, the Boomboomgers are suspecting that Nicola might be trying to tell them something. And Tokoyari sends Ishiro off, and he tells the Hashirians to prepare because the in-game story arc is coming, guys. But we'll get to that in the next podcast. What do we think about this one?
I'm surprised Riz isn't taking the handle because one of his dudes is back. Man, Joe is cool in this episode.
I was gonna let y'all tee off.
I like Joe's role in this, where he looked at Taya and he was like, "You remind me a lot of Marvelous." I respect that.
Yeah.
And it's especially cool that he's here because when you watch Gokaiger, you'll definitely be able to say that Joe and Marvelous kind of have like this real like close brotherly type of relationship. Ishiro and Taya kind of have that too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool parallel there when you think about it.
So I do want to say, hearkening back to early December when I had dinner with Ryota Ozawa, who played Captain Marvelous in Gokaiger, I did mention to him, I'm really excited to see him come back for Boonboomger, and he just smiled at me and said he's not coming back. I was like, no, you're coming back. Your photo, like the Gokaiger symbols on the poster. And he just smiled at me. And I was like, this dude's pulling my leg. He didn't pull my leg.
No, but here's what people need to realize about Joe being the one to come back. Like,
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, because here people may not. Okay, for people who are listening to this that might not know, the guy who plays Joe, Yamada Yuki, he's like one of the biggest actor. Well, okay, maybe not the biggest, but he's a huge actor in Japan right now. Like he's had a bunch of his own shows on Netflix, one of which my wife watched. And well, she fell in love with the guy. And by the way, my wife follows him on Instagram. My wife's sister, who knows nothing about Super Sentai, follows this actor. He's got He's got over 1 million followers on Instagram. This guy is a huge actor. He probably has a lot of other better and much more high-paying things to do than come back for Super Sentai, but here he is.
And I will say, he has said in an interview released after this episode that his role as Joe in Gokaiger is his formative role that got him into this career. And it's one of his most serious roles he's ever done. And if he ever gets the opportunity to come back, he will take it no matter what. So here he is.
That dedication, I like that.
Yeah, because he's saying, I don't care about the money. I care about the fandom. I care about my role.
Yeah.
And I care about
he has a personal connection to Joe, and he wants to see him through to the end.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And that's probably the big reason why seeing him come back, this hits a lot bigger than any of the other past ones. I mean, the actor who plays Tokyo Ichigo, Shishun Jun, he's also kind of a big actor. So it's kind of a bigger deal. But yeah, Yamada Yuki, I mean, again, the fact that my wife's sister, who doesn't know anything about Super Sentai, is following this guy should probably be a big indicator that this guy's kind of a big deal in Japan.
Yeah. And, it's also interesting the way they had this entire episode filmed. So it will come as no surprise to anyone in this podcast or anyone listening to us at home that I watched this episode more than once.
Yeah.
And
it wouldn't surprise me if you did.
I did. I watched it at least 3 times. And on my second rewatch, I was watching it more so because I was kind of curious about the way they filmed it. Because I'd read something that I wanted to see how it played out. And what I had read was, originally, they couldn't get the actor himself to come back and do it. There's a schedule conflict. So they were only going to film him in the suit doing voiceover work later on. So he would be the voice, but he would not be in there in person.
Yeah.
And you can tell very clearly where they came back later and plopped in the scene of him looking over and watching the battle happening at the end. And then they filmed one scene at the end with him and Taya. That's the only time you see Joe. It's for one split second at the beginning when he's watching from the top, and then with him and Taya. And that entire time he filmed couldn't have been more than an hour. But he still managed to make an hour of time to come in, do the thing he has to do, and get out and go back to his life. Because he loves that role that much.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah, because regardless, he was going to voice it, but he said, no, screw it. I'm going to find my way to get back into it on screen because that's what the fans want.
And it's particularly a big deal because there's a ton of Kamen Rider actors that have gone on to be bigger almost every Kamen, probably I want to say 7 or 8 out of 10 Kamen Rider seasons that I've shown my wife, mostly from the 2000s, early 2010s Heisei era. They've all gone on to become big actors. Most of them don't want to go back to Kamen Rider. They just think, yeah, that Kamen Rider, it was my first big gig. I mean, it made me famous, but who cares? I mean, the guy who played Kamen Rider Kuga is a huge actor, and he hates going back to Kamen Rider. If you mention him and Kamen Rider in the same sentence, he'll get really angry. So to see someone from Super Sentai, which is not nearly as popular in Japan as Kamen Rider is, to see someone from Super Sentai get big and still want to come back to this show, despite it kind of not being nearly as popular and kind of being a bit, I don't want to say a laughing stock, but just kind of seen as a lesser thing. That's incredibly wholesome. But Yeah, just I don't know. It's probably very unlikely that I would ever get a chance to meet Yamada Yuki because obviously he would never have a chance to like come to like one of these Toku Spirits events. But I mean, my wife said even though he's a very serious, like cool type of guy in Gokaiger, according to my wife, he's actually a much funnier guy in his other shows.
He
So
is. Like, go watch Godzilla -1. He's in that as well.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
And, yeah, he is.
That's cool.
So I watched Godzilla -1 before I knew that he was in it.
Great film, by the way.
It is a fantastic film.
Yes.
We reviewed it on this podcast a while back with Nathan Marchand. That was a fun time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I realized later on that he was in it, I was like, oh man, let me go back and watch it again to see which one he was. And I was like, man, this is not Joe whatsoever.
And definitely go and check out for people who are watching. I need to get the name, and I could probably mention it at the beginning of one of our next podcasts. But definitely check out some of his shows on Netflix because I'm going to try to binge a couple. Because here's the thing: my wife watched one and she couldn't stop watching it, and when it ended, she was crying. So very powerful shows, evidently.
I am going to message Miss Desa and ask her for the name of that one.
Okay. Yeah,
because I want to know now.
No, because she was crying, and for like she couldn't go the next week without saying Yamada Yuki Kakoine. So
what does that translate to?
Oh, Yamada Yuki, he's so cool. He's awesome.
So cool.
I mean, yeah, he is cool, but
yeah, but well, when they say Kakoi, it's like it's meant to be in a bit more of an affectionate way, I guess you can say. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Yamada Yuki coming here, I mean, it sucks. I mean, this is mainly what we're talking about, but again, that should probably give people a really good idea of like how big it is, the fact that he even came on this show to begin with.
It'd be like, I might be wrong on this example, Nate, but he's the equivalent of like a Tom Cruise or a Johnny Depp in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, I would say that's probably appropriate, at least for right now. Like, definitely, definitely. Well, probably not with Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp is kind of, can be a little controversial here and there, but definitely Tom Cruise at least.
Okay, Denzel Washington. I don't know. I'm making up names here.
Yeah. I mean, definitely to the point where. I don't know if I said this on our podcast with them or not, but when the More Phenomenal Expo people were saying that they were trying to get the whole Gokaiger cast to come on with Toku Spirits, it's like, if you guys can get Yamada Yuki to come to your con, I guarantee you there will be a bunch of Asian, probably Japanese women who are coming to your con, not just specifically to meet him because of how popular he is. So
you wouldn't be wrong.
But yeah, besides Joe, do we have anything else we want to add with talking about the episode?
So this episode's ending, where Joe gives Taya Nicola's necklace, will have great impacts on the endgame arc. And as of right now, I don't fully understand the impact, but I do know that the impact is there because they have mentioned it a couple of times now. And so that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to say anything more, but this scene is very important.
I'd imagine so.
So, yeah.
And
so
I'm definitely intrigued to see where they're going with Ishiro because, you were telling me this, Riz, how you wanted me to kind of hold off with giving like a final tier ranking for Ishiro because we've already done the tier rankings and we're not going to go into that at the end of this podcast, but I still kind of have Ishiro at like a B tier right now, but I have a feeling like with what they're setting up here, his stock is about to rise.
Anthony, would you agree with me that his stocks went way up?
Definitely so.
Okay.
Definitely so.
Okay. Yep. Because what was it that I said I can't remember what season it was. I said this, but like an ending can make or break stuff for characters in a season. An ending can make or break a story or a season or a character arc and everything. Well, as soon as I saw that betrayal thing, I was like, uh-oh. Boon Bulu is about to have that moment that'll like define his legacy as a Blue Sentai Ranger forever. Dude. And I can't wait to see how it's handled.
Honestly, I'm on pins and needles to see where his story ultimately ends up. It's so in flux right now that I can't tell.
Guess we'll just have to wait until the end like everyone else.
Yeah. So all I got to say is this episode, 10 out of 10. You're not surprised. You will never be surprised. So move on to your scoring. And if it's not a 10, I'll judge you forever.
It's a 10.
I just have to laugh at how convenient it is that, oh, we just lost our Blue Ranger. Well, the one Blue Ranger who can turn into said Blue Ranger just happened to show up. You guys were lucky that it wasn't like Doc or somebody. It was like, well, he doesn't turn into Blue Rangers.
Well, okay.
I mean, he could, but it would be weird for him to do it.
He could have been. Also, I do like in this season that they do give an explanation that makes sense for why he can turn into a certain Ranger, given they've given all the Ranger keys back, allegedly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the 10 Gokaiger movie, they don't have a reason for why they suddenly had the powers of, what was it? Kiddermater. Yeah. I don't remember who they were, but I think like Tokuser, Kiddermater, or some of them that I remember. Oh, Lupat was another set.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that they have something to kind of explain, like, hey, he literally took the guy's morpher. Which, is also something I think was explained when they did it in Zyuohger. Because there they said, yeah, so Guy went around and collected all the Ranger keys back again to help in the fight.
Well, didn't they also kind of offhand explain it a little bit in Gokaiger itself? Because didn't they give the Ranger keys back to the Hurricaneger and the keys turned into their henshin devices?
Yeah.
It's just kind of implied that the Gokaigers can change henshin devices into keys inherently.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, at the end of Gokaiger, all of those keys were returned back so that all the teams had their henshin changers back.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is, it's nice to see a season explain, hey, here's how this particular Gokai change happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I see where you're going,
yeah.
Well, I think the explanation, because they did this in the Ghost Sager movie too, where it's explained where if a Ranger key if the person who owned the powers to begin with, like, okay, let's say that Takeru got the Shinken Red key, then the Ranger key would naturally respond to him and it would give him his powers back. But the same thing couldn't happen like when that kid stole the Shinken Red Ranger key, because he wasn't originally Shinken Red. That's why he needs a Mobiret. But the Hurricanegers didn't need Mobirets to transform with their Ranger keys because it was their powers to begin.
It's their own power. They don't need it.
Yeah.
Also, note at the end, he does give the Boon Changer to Taya to hold on to.
Yep.
So,
which we probably already know, but yeah, we know that Ishiro is not out for good.
No, one can hope, but we'll see.
But he's sure made it convincing that he may not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But anyway, let's not dwell on that. Let's move on to the next segment. We all gave it a 10, even Patrick. Moving on.
Yeah, do we have anything else we want to add? Because this was the last episode in the batch. Do we have anything else we want to add before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I'm going to say one thing, and that's all I'm going to say. Y'all hold on to your hats, because it's going to be a really bumpy and crazy and wild ride.
Yeah, this setup for the finale arc has me super excited for how the season's going to end, because it's done most things right up to this point. And
it's done everything right.
I trust it to stick the landing, just like I did with King Oger. I trust the season to stick its landing. I just can't wait to see how they stick it.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
Nate, anything else you want to add?
I'm gonna have to watch the episode that I haven't watched yet when we're done here because I need to see.
There's 2 episodes you got to watch.
Okay.
I'm mad that the last 3 episodes aren't out yet, so I can watch them now.
Right.
Right?
I just want to see the rest of the season now, but I gotta wait a month.
Dude, I'm so mad that I gotta wait. I'm so mad.
See, this is the struggle of watching Sentais as they air, because like you get to a point where he's like, I need to watch the rest of the season. Well, the episodes aren't out yet. Stupid. You're gonna have to wait like the rest.
So guys, I pretty much told Nathan this. I'm pretty much gonna tell you guys this too. I'm watching the current Kamen Rider that's out. It's called Kamen Rider Gavu.
Gavu's
And
really good.
I binge watched all 18 episodes in like the last 2 days. It's just that good.
It's really good. I like it.
And you're mad that you can't watch more.
I am mad. I can't watch more.
I'm not at that point yet.
Despite how goofy it looks and the premise, you're probably thinking like, "Oh, this is like this is snack based. Like this is scoop. This story is dark as f."
Yeah, I'm only like 4 in, I think, but I like it.
It gets crazier than Riz. It gets crazier.
Like honestly, this would be one Kamen Rider that I wouldn't mind us to go back and cover at some point.
Yeah, please. Yes, please. I would love us to
Like
cover
if
this.
we had to pick a Kamen Rider to get Toku Secrets into the Kamen Rider realm, this could be one I'd see us wanting to do at some point. But I know we already have our schedule for 2025 set, so I'm not going to rock the boat.
Yeah.
But 2026, you never know.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, I feel like I'm long overdue to get into Kamen Rider. So
I mean, I've done my stints in Kamen Rider in the past, but I've never seen a good one.
I would say if you're not opposed to how goofy some of them look, check out Gaim, X-Aid, and Build. Those are like the best ones.
With Gaim, give it time because the first couple of episodes are where it's a little silly, but when it gets real, within like the first 10 episodes, it gets real.
Yes.
I've heard even to like from one of my best friends since 3rd grade, who's a big Kamen Rider guy. I've heard nothing but good things about Gaim. Nothing but good things. So it's one of those seasons that if I ever get around to Rider, it's one of the ones I'm picking.
Yeah,
but it will kind of like frustrate you at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. Gaim will frustrate you at first if you aren't prepared for what's gonna happen later on in the future. But thinking like, oh, this is another goofy Kamen Rider or whatever. No, it's far from that later on down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted.
But that wraps up this whole thing with Boonboomger. We are going to be taking a look at the movie next time, and of course, we got a lot of really great things planned for you guys come 2025. You guys will have to wait and see what's the next Sentai we're going to be reviewing now that we finish Go-Onger, but let's just say that these next couple of Sentais it's going to definitely be kind of an up and down ride, literally, and the guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. But we're definitely going to have a lot of fun stuff for you guys, and we hope you guys will join us for all that all throughout 2025. And we'll see you guys next time when we return to the Boonboomger in-game arc, when we return to Boonboomger, that is. And we're also looking forward to taking a look at Go-Juger as it airs as well. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff planned for you guys. And we'll see you guys next time. But until then, bye for now. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Anime Declassified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other Tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback. With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of Tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.